So, our theme today is let's talk tech skills, tips, and tools you need to succeed. What I'd love to do is throw it over to each of these ladies to hear about their journey and their career. Rema, I'm going to go to you first. Tell us about you and what you do today and how you got there.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Nice to talk to all of you today. My name is Rema Morgan-Aluko. I'm the VP of Software Engineering at Fandango within NBC Universal. So Fandango has a family of brands, and so I oversee the engineering teams responsible for our ticketing platforms. That would be Fandango, Movie Tickets, and Blickster, as well as our home entertainment brand, Voodoo, and our content brand, Rotten Tomatoes. So I've been with the company for about 15 years. I've literally worked on every single one of those products over the years. And you know, how did I get here? I think, I wanted to work at a place that was fun. I wanted to marry my love for entertainment. I love TV and movies. I can watch all day. And I'm a nerd. I love technology. Technology has been my bread and butter since I was like 10. So this is like a perfect marriage to work for a company where I get to build amazing features and systems and tools and applications for millions and millions of consumers. And it's been a fun ride.
Rema, I have a follow-up before we go over to Doreen, which is how at 10 did you first become attracted to technology?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Doreen and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about our very similar origin stories when it comes to technology. So my father actually, he got an old computer from his boss, and he brought that computer home, and he didn't know how to make it work. And so every day I would come home from school, and the first thing I'd do, I'd drop my backpack down, and I'm sitting in front of the computer, tinkering away, trying to figure it out, trying to get it to work. And I would do that. And just every day I'd just be excited to tell him what I learned that day. And we would do that together for years, and, just continued that. And it's interesting because I didn't really realize that that was tech. I didn't really realize you can even have a job in that. I had no idea. When I got to in high school, when it's time to pick your college career, I went to the counselor. They were like, "Oh, you're good at math and science. You have really good grades there. Maybe you should look into engineering." I had no idea what engineering was, but they explained. They said it was like solving problems, and I like that. I really like solving problems. I went down and looking at all the college majors in the engineering section, went down in alphabetical order. Aerospace, I was like, oh, I don't want to go to space. Biomedical, I didn't want to be a doctor, not knowing that these things are not even the same thing. Civil, I didn't want to get dirty. My uncle was a civil engineer and he always came home dirty, so I don't want that. And then after that, computer science and computer engineering came next. And I was like, oh, I have a computer. That's cool. I'll do that. And that's kind of how I got in there. And luckily, I didn't find out what computer science was until my 101 class in college. And the rest has just been amazing. Every day has been a new challenge, new excitement. It's almost like I was born to do this, without knowing. And I really thank my dad for instilling that in me and opening my eyes to, what at the time felt like a toy, but for, exposing me to a career in technology.
Amazing. Such a cool story. Doreen, how about you? Tell us about you. What do you do right now? And then I'm going to ask you the same sort of origin story.
Sure. So just a little bit about me. First and foremost, I'm a wife, a mother of 4 wonderful children. At least we all think our children are wonderful. 2 adults and 2 teenagers. And recently I expanded my family, surprise, surprise, with a new addition, taking permanent custody and guardianship of my niece. So we're really happy to have her. In my household, I have become the master of juggling and delegation. At least that's my title. In my career, I have over 25 years of experience in technology, a background similar to Rema. I got hardcore application development. I've also led cybersecurity, transformed infrastructure operations. And then in my current role at NBCU, I'm the VP of Enterprise Finance, Technology, and Services Group for NBC Universal. I recently left a 21-year career working for a major defense contractor and joined NBC Universal, Comcast company. So I am 6 months old and super excited about this opportunity. And just in conversations with Rema the other day, she asked me such a great question. She said, "Why did you leave a 21-year career?" And I thought, oh, that's such a good question. With a vast network and great experiences, why did you decide to come to NBCU? I personally truly love stepping outside my comfort zone. I love transformation. I love solving big problems, leading operation efficiencies. So really leading into change. And so I was just ready for that next big challenge. And I worked at all 4 major divisions of this defense contractor and tackled wonderful challenges and drove key strategic innovations. I was ready for that next big challenge and figured, what, it was time for me to be a little uncomfortable. So it just made sense in leaving one of the top defense companies, I would pivot to one of the top media and entertainment companies. So, NBC Universal kind of got me with the fact that, as a company, they deliver cutting edge capabilities through development, production, marketing, and entertainment, news and information to a global audience. The brand is so exciting and diverse. And I have a unique position to manage a vast portfolio of finance technology applications, really setting the vision, strategic direction across all NBC Universal. So the funny thing in just tagging up with Rema just recently, I realized that as I look at my job compared to hers, I mostly support the internal operations of NBC Universal, really touching, like, for example, the finance organization. Obviously, we also support HR, legal, different functions across NBC Universal. Rema could be considered one of my key business stakeholders.
Yeah, and on my side, I deal with our wonderful consumers. So that would be the applications, the shows that they watch, the touch of how they interact with the content that we deliver and put together. What makes them choose us over other platforms? What happens when we have an on sale? Like, people are in theaters or a movie's coming out in theaters and they're rushing to go see it. Like, for example, something we just supported, Spider-Man No Way Home just came out, and a lot of people have kind of been at home watching content on their TVs, which we have applications on, which has been fun, but people wanted to go back to the theater. So let's support that effort. And we had a surge, of traffic, a lot like what we saw back when Avengers came out a while back, and everyone wanted to go to the movies. So solving those challenges, how do we scale up our applications to support those issues? How do we help people stay in line when, everyone's trying to get their tickets all at the same time? There's all these fun and amazing challenges that come from working on the consumer side. And like together, one thing that I think is amazing that Doreen and I figured out is that, there's our NBC Universal is so vast. There's so many things that you can do. Doreen's working on how do we build technology to help us do the business that we do much better day in and day out. And I'm working on how do our consumers enjoy the content, the features, the information that we as NBC Universal have. How do they make the choice of, where to find their entertainment? And hopefully they're choosing us, and I get to work on that. And it's been amazing because we can work together. We can cross collaborate with multiple teams. I have an ongoing project right now. We're collaborating with our Comcast team on their X-Class TV. And so there's an application that we're building there, which has been amazing and fun. And so I think, for me, over the past 15 years, I've felt like every 2 years or so, I have a new job, I have a new opportunity. And that's because of the wide breadth of this amazing company. There's always something new. There's always a new challenge, you know, every day. And I get to continue to meet amazing people all the time as well, which has been a huge benefit.
You both have had very long and distinguished careers. If you could go back and talk to yourself as you were just exiting college and kind of taking that first job, what would you tell younger you? Doreen, I'll go to you first. What would you tell Doreen right out of school?
Oh, so I have like a list of what I would tell Doreen. Whether you're right out of school or jumping directly into your career, I would say be fearless, take risk. Rema and I talked about this the other day as we were sharing, our stories growing up with our fathers. And so for me, my father, similar to her, I spent a lot of time with him, working in the garage. He was a heavy machine mechanic and for the government and military. And, he had me doing all kinds of things to building. I was sharing with Rema. We built a pulley in the garage. I was about 8 or 10 years old, between 8 and 10. I can't remember exactly, but all I remember is the excitement of just helping him, him stretching me, brainstorming with me, the idea, him and one of his close friends. And I remember pulling the lever for the first time, pulling the lever to see the pulley operate and pull the engine up, out of the car. And it was amazing to know that I contributed to that I helped to brainstorm, that I helped solve that problem, and that I wasn't scared to get in there and do that. And that's some of the things that I think I learned, luckily at a young age, to be fearless, to take risks, to step outside my comfort zone. And you kind of heard, Rema say the same things, the fact that, she's maneuvered so many times through her career. And similarly, I did as well. And I think because of that, we were able to get some very unique opportunities. I wish I had have known that sooner so I could raise my hand sooner and faster. So I would encourage people to do that, be uncomfortable and be okay with being uncomfortable, and, be the master of your career. Really think about where you want to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years and what it would take to get there. What type of moves and positions would help grow you to that place that you want to be in 5 to 10 years. And then lastly, and I'm sure, Rema, you can definitely tack onto this as well, because we talked about this, building our network. I think both of us agree, like looking for opportunities to identify mentors and advocates throughout the environment and throughout industry is really, really important. There's a difference between a mentor and advocate. A mentor is someone that if you're leaning into a new position or opportunity, they're going to help you. They're going to be those people that had that experience, those umpteen years of experience, and maybe the opportunity that you're stepping in. And so they can mentor you, they can groom you, they can help you, achieve what you're looking to do within that scope. But an advocate is someone that might be in upper leadership positions across the company, that might be knowledgeable across industry of upcoming opportunities that you might, that they might be able to put your name in for. So an advocate is the person that's going to represent your brand, where you're going to build a relationship with them and network with them and really, really get exposed to opportunities. They're the ones that are going to open up doors for you. So having mentors and having advocates is really huge. And I'm sure, like I said, Rema, I'm sure you have your list as well. So.
No, I mean, I think you hit all of the amazing points. I mean, I'll echo all of that. I think that the one thing I just to add on top of all those things is like, you said this, being in charge of your career, but one thing that I think I didn't do as well in the beginning that I learned to do quickly is actually just speaking up for what I want. People won't, they can't give you an opportunity unless they know that you're interested. So when you build those relationships, you look for mentors. A mentor can't help you unless you know what it is you're trying to do. A sponsor can't put your name in the hat for an opportunity unless they know you'd be interested. So I think one of those things that for me is I used to think, okay, well, all I need to do is just do good work. And so I would just, I'd sit at my desk for hours and I do this and I do that, but nobody knows, like, yeah, I finished my project, but nobody knows that I was interested in so-and-so's project over there, or that I wanted to, advance my skills in this. I had to say that. I had to get up from my desk and walk around and say, hey, can you tell me more about this? Or, hey, I I heard you were working on this project. Can I help you with that? Is that something I can get on? You have to, speak up for what you want, and you have to promote yourself as well. You have to say, these are my accomplishments. This is what I'm doing. A lot of times people see that as bragging, but guys do this naturally. They do it all the time. And it's no big deal to talk about what their accomplishments are. But as women, sometimes we don't, it's uncomfortable. Doreen said this, be comfortable, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to talk about yourself and toot your own horn. We say we all the time. We did this, we did that, because we want to be fair. It's a team effort. But it's also important to say what you did. Use I sometimes. It is okay to say that I did this, I did that, I moved this, so people can really see like, what are the skills that you provide? Because you already have those skills. You've already built those things up. So yeah, for me as a kid, and a young engineer starting off, is speaking up, especially when you're curious and you want to know everything. Just ask, say, I want to do this. And chances are, if people can help you, they will. They're usually more than happy to help.
Yeah, right. You just have to let people know that you need help and what help you need. I agree. So I recently saw some new data that was released that showed, I guess unsurprisingly, that of all the departments in a company, software engineering is the most male skewing, even more than senior leadership. Right. And I guess if I thought about it long enough, I would have known this, but I hadn't really thought about it in that term. So I'd like to ask you both why you think that continues to be true and what we can do to change it. So Rema, I'll go back to you first.
Yeah, it's interesting because I talk to people about this all the time. Honestly, I feel like you can't be what you don't see. For me, like I mentioned, I fell into this. I didn't even know what opportunities were available. And I definitely didn't know that women were doing it. The roles that I see on television, the roles that I saw in movies, it wasn't female engineers. Nowadays, there are more content that's showing the diverseness of what women can do today. But I think that's really been an issue. We need more role models showing women examples of what they could be, the diversity of the roles in technology, and not the stereotypical view that you might see in the movies. There are so many different skills and so many different types of occupations. And women are actually very well suited for technology. We have a lot of just innate skill sets sometimes, through just navigating life. There are lots of things that make us good. I've read a lot of studies that say, diverse teams that have both men and women are, they make more money in the long term. They make better decisions. Sometimes, I think we as women, we take ourselves out of the running for certain things. We might assume that, maybe that's not for me, or maybe I'll be a little uncomfortable, or maybe I'm not as qualified. So I think we need to just get away from all that. I try to take opportunities like this all the time to really showcase like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And you could do it too. I work with a lot of young women and different organizations, and really explain like, this is what I'm doing. And these are what my colleagues are doing. So you could just see like, here's this opportunity, here's this. And so just focusing on the pipeline, really. Showcasing all the different facets of technology. And I do feel like the numbers will change.
I hope they will. Doreen, what do you think?
I mean,
and by
I
the way,
agree.
you've probably seen it even worse I can't imagine what it's like working for a government contract, a defense contractor.
Yes. I would say that when I started in the company that I was in, we talked about the lack of women leaders in technology. And so I started there, I was there for 21 years. So, umpteen years ago, don't want to tell on myself. But when I first started there was just a handful of women in technology. And I think as companies, and this is what I love about NBC Universal as well, we have to be strategic on, how we build the talent across our pipeline. And I think as women, as individuals, we also have to open up those doors and be willing, like Rema said, to be sponsors, to be advocates, to pull up that pipeline, to make sure that we're positioning them for the next opportunity that's available. In the defense world, because my particular company did eventually put a strategic initiative in place. I remember starting off, we had a women's leadership forum. We started off in that women's leadership forum with just a handful of women. When I left, and I actually ran the national forum for about 4 years, we had over 480 women leaders globally coming to Bethesda, Maryland every year to participate in this leadership forum. And that speaks volumes when you see, when I started, just a handful, to be able to grow that leadership contingency to about 480 plus. And then that's the ones that actually could attend the forum. I'm sure there was tons more. And this is what NBC Universal is doing as well. I mean, we have a women's leadership forum, we have different diversity programs, and we are actively building that capability. I was sharing with Rema the other day. I was really inspired to receive a note from my boss to let me know that I was put forward into a program called Pivot. And the Pivot program is to expose you across NBC Universal to the studios, to the stations, to the back end inner workings, how, do we do what we do? And being able to have that knowledge and be able to travel to the various sites, over a set amount of time. It's like so many months that you're involved in this program. And the whole time they're encouraging you to network. You're meeting top leaders from across the industry, across NBCU, and they're encouraging you to build your network, to make connections, and also look for that next opportunity. I think as women, and that's why, I'm so inspired by the program that you have here, this community is huge. And as women, we have to own our career and own the fact that, we want to help that next person get to that next opportunity. So I definitely resonate with everything that you said, Rema. And I definitely feel like we still have a lot of work to do as women. So again, be bold. As Rema mentioned, put yourself out there and don't talk yourself out of the technology jobs. We tend to talk ourselves out of things. It is not that hard. Put your hand up, be bold, and pursue, that next career move. And that's what I would encourage women to do.
Amazing. Rema, you've been at NBCU a long time. Could you talk about some of the things that the company is doing to help support women in technology?
Yeah. So actually, one of the other things that I do outside of my day job is I sit on the global advisory board for an organization across Comcast and NBCU called Tech Women. So Tech Women is an organization where we have female technologists across the entire enterprise, and we're working day in and day out to connect with one another. Again, those relationships are important to contribute to the technical advancements of our group, and also to inspire that next generation of women who are coming into technology. And so one of the things that's been amazing is that we're really spending a lot of time focusing on how do we influence that next generation. So what partnerships can we be doing with young women at different schools or different organizations. And that program has kind of been going for this organization has kind of been going, I think, for the past 10 years or so, which has been an amazing time since I've been at the company. Also, another thing that I think is amazing, to speak on our talent lab programs. I recently went through a program called Amplify, which was amazing because one of the things that I've always felt as a woman in technology is like a feeling of being alone. This program, Amplify, helped me understand that I have some skills and some attributes based on my identity that helps me and has helped me be successful, and that I am not alone. There are many other people at the corporation or at the company that are very similar to me. And these skills that I have and this identity that I have actually makes me become more successful and helps me navigate certain issues and problems. And tackle opportunities, these things help make me successful. And just knowing that the company wanted to pour some of that into me, you know, has been really amazing. And it's like, okay, well, this is what I need. I need an extra team, you know, behind me, pushing me and helping me be successful. And over the years, there's been several of those types of opportunities, whether it be from tech women, whether it be from a talent lab, whether it be from exposure to other senior leaders, whether it be kind of being in the trenches with colleagues, you know, on projects. I think that we have a commitment. This company is serious about their commitment to diversity, their commitment to improving the lives of women at the company, and increasing the number of technologists around the globe, which has been an amazing thing to be a part of over my time here at NBCU.
That's awesome. You know, when we do events like this, certainly one of the things I know that Fairygodboss users ask about or raise is work-life balance. You both have big jobs. I'm going to go first to you, Doreen, and we actually got a question from the audience. You mentioned 4 children plus 1, I think. So how have you managed in your career to build this huge career and manage such a large family at the same time?
Well, in my opinion, and I don't know how controversial this will be, but I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't think it exists. So understanding that, I kind of throw that notion out the window. And I've done that years ago, because for years I was like, you know what, I got to create this work-life balance. You know, how do I do that? And I was always failing at it. I was like, okay, this is not working. I got to try something different. And so I actually read a book years ago, and I forget the name of the author. I'll try to remember and send that to you. But it really talked about leaning into each moment, owning the moment that you're in. So it doesn't really focus on work-life balance. It focuses on each moment. So when I'm with my family, for example, I literally will turn off my phones. I will shut down my computer. I will turn off from work, and I will lean and own that moment. And it's really important to do that, because your children are watching you. They're watching, you know, the time that you're putting into them. And if you're on a call and you're saying just a minute and you're trying to ask a question, you're sending messages to them that they may not be important. You know, they may be secondary to your work or your career. So I would encourage women to lean into those moments with your family, with your friends, whatever it is, lean into the moment. When it comes to my career, I do the same. You know, I lean into the moment. I set those guardrails. I make sure that I don't get distracted. And what do I mean by that? For example, we tend to be overbooked these days for some strange reason on meetings. I literally do not overbook my calendar anymore. I think it's the utmost respect that you can show an individual when you are present in the meeting that you're supposed to be on and really contributing to that engagement in that moment. It makes people feel important. It actually sends a message as a leader that you value their time, that you respect what they have to offer. And so I think it's really important. So for me, I lean into moments. I also own my decisions. And so it's really important, because I recently, and thanks for bringing it up, made a decision to take permanent guardianship and custody of my niece, it's a big decision to take on another individual, another family member, a huge responsibility, but I own my decision. Once I make it, I don't question myself. I own it. I decide that that is the decision, and I am going to be ruthless at making it work. I'm going to do everything and anything I can in order to make sure that in that decision, I make sure that I accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish in those tasks. So I would say, own your decisions, lean into the moment that you're in. And that's my advice.
Love it. Doreen, great advice. Rema, how about you? How are you handling work-life balance with your career?
Wow, I'm still inspired by Doreen. I was like, oh, that was so good. I love that, lean into moments. Yeah, you know, what I try to do is actually try to make sure that I have some time for myself. I've gotten really into cycling. And so at the end of the day, I will take my bike out and actually ride my bike outside with friends. And it's so amazing because it's very meditative. You know, when you're cycling, you're out there, you're paying attention to your breath, you're making sure you're not going to get hit by a car, you're focusing on your speed and your body position, and you can't think of anything else. Work can't come in, right? Family life can't come in. It's just me and my bike out there. And I think that like helps me reset by getting out there and doing something. So I think for me, it's just really important to be strict about having something that's just for me and for no one else. This is something that I like to do for fun, and it allows me to de-stress. You know, work is tough. These jobs are demanding. It's fun, but it's demanding. There's a lot that we're asked to do day in and day out. And I love it, but I also have to make sure that I leave some time for myself. That's not my husband's, it's not my mom's, it's not my sister's, you know, not my nieces, it's just mine. And that's really important. So that's kind of what I do. You know, I always make sure I have that moment. I don't skip it. You know, I make sure that I go every time, and you know, and that's it. So I think it's always important. Take some time for yourself. It's important to show myself that I matter. I'm just as important as this job. I'm just as important as all the other hats that I have, and I deserve some time too. So
I think that's very wise, Rema.
Yeah, I love that self-care message.
Doreen, how do you de-stress?
So, you know, I had an executive coach in my former company. And so one of the things that she had a master's in, surprise, Rema, was meditation. And she actually taught me meditation. And it's something that I have taken with me now for umpteen years. At first, you know, I thought it was kind of weird. Like I was like, oh, meditation, I'm just gonna sit there quiet and learn to breathe in and breathe out. And I thought that was so odd at first, but I gotta say, it totally relaxes me. It clears my mind. And at first I started off with just something very simple, 5 minutes a day, nothing big. And then that 5 minutes turned into 15 minutes every morning, 15 minutes every evening. I've expanded it. I teach my children how to meditate now. We do meditation groups as a family. We just sit there and we do it. And we also do affirmations. I really love listening to empowering affirmations. I actually use the word fearless a lot. I actually have an affirmation that I listen to, and it is, I am fearless. And it really takes you through, you know, all the things that, what does that mean to be fearless? I own my decisions. I am comfortable in my own space. I am not scared of who I am and the power that I have. So just listening to that, it could be funny at first for some people. I know it was for me, but it's so inspiring just to kind of to hear those thoughts and really internalize it and think about it. So meditation, also hanging out with my friends. You know, I truly love people. I love engaging. You know, I'm the person that, you know what, if you need me, call me. I am going to hop in a car and meet you at the local restaurant and grab some wine. So I really like my friend time. And even recently, you know, I went to St. John with a couple of my girlfriends, and we had such a wonderful time. I think finding, you know, what you like to do, and similar to what Rema said, and she's so, I love this because you reminded me, self-care is really important. So finding those moments of self-care is really valuable, important. It allows us to re-energize. So that's some of what I do in my moments.
I love what you said about affirmations. I actually forgot this. Every time I open a browser, a new tab in my Chrome browser, there's actually an affirmation that pops up as the home screen. So every time I before I begin a new piece of work, I get that affirmation. I get that quote, that inspiring moment, just to like reset before I take on a new task. So like that's like a little small thing, but affirmations are so powerful. I just wanted to ditto and echo that. You know, if you can just work in a few affirmations for yourself every day, this is a little boost, a little pick me up. Everyone needs a little boost throughout the day, just like you need your coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great tip. I'm going to take that away from this for sure. Ladies, I'll ask either of you. There's a question for the audience, which is, what advice do you have for someone who's starting over at 55 or older, not used to the new, not up to date in technology, not up to date in how to connect, and maybe doesn't have a network?
Well, I think the first thing I would say, contact me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to give you some additional thoughts there.
So now you have
More
a
of
network already, audience.
yeah, more of a deeper dive.
Yeah.
You can feel free to reach out, but I would say, you know,
Thank you.
there's so many opportunities. I was talking to one of the VPs in NBCU. She runs the data analytics product group, and she's also always looking for data analysts, always looking for folks. You know, data is a huge thing. And in a company like ours, I'm sure, Rema, you can totally understand, it's huge, huge amounts of data, whether it's internal data or externally facing data, you know, really being able to make decisions based on, you know, data is really important these days. So data analytics is huge, you know, being able to set data strategies, you know, a data scientist, and you would be so surprised. There's so many courses and certifications that you can get very quickly to get up to speed very fast. You know, so if you are looking to, you know, re-enter and you're kind of thinking, you know, what are some of those areas? I would also say like cyber. Cyber is another huge area as well. There's tons of opportunity space in cyber. And there's, you know, millions of jobs, you know, in the technology industry right now that are unfilled, millions. So I would encourage you to start there, you know, really look at what job postings that you're seeing and look for those different programs that you could just take as a real quick, you know, 3 to 6 month program just to re-engage in that technology and get up to speed, and just start putting together your resume, and don't be scared to throw your name in a hat for opportunities and get started. So that would be my advice for coming back in.
Yeah, that's
Love it.
all of that is great. And I think the only other thing that I'd add actually is one other amazing thing at NBC Universal. So Roma, you asked me earlier, what are some of the things that NBC Universal has done? So a couple of years back, and this program may still exist, but NBC Universal launched a program called Act Two, which is specifically for people who are coming back to the workplace after taking a break. And the fact that the company is even acknowledging that, you know, we still have talented and skilled people out there that have been out, that those skills can be useful and are useful, and built a program around attracting that talent to kind of come and work at NBC Universal is amazing. So if there was ever a place where, you know, you were looking for an opportunity as someone who kind of has taken a step back from being a part of the workforce for whatever reason, NBC is here, right? There are opportunities. And just to ditto, thank you, Bill. Act Two still exists. So it is a program that is out there right now that's available to participate in, which is amazing. And I love that program. Another thing that I think, just to add on to what Doreen said, is and another thing is just in the pandemic, one of the benefits of being in this situation is that now your location does not matter in terms of where you are. And so now your exposure to more opportunities has exponentially grown, because no matter where you are, you can apply for an opportunity, you can expand your skills. And with all of these learning applications available, LinkedIn Learning has stuff, which NBC also has a partnership with. You can really refresh your skills and then come back and apply. Don't look at that job description and think, oh man, I don't have 2 or 3 of these things, or I don't have 5 of those things. Do not take yourself out of the running. Please apply. Apply, put your name in the hat, and just see, you know. And while you're waiting, keep honing your skills, keep learning, keep going through courses online, keep refreshing, try some projects on the side, volunteer for different things, and build that resume back up. And chances are you will get an opportunity.
How or what advice would you give to the audience, which you've already given some, about if they're interested in jobs at NBCU? What's the best way to, what do you think is the skills that are most critical for success? What do you think will help them stand out?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm looking for in a team member. What I'm looking for, I want someone who is inquisitive, who is energetic and excited about the technologies and the features and the mission that we're trying to achieve. I want someone who's a great communicator, who has an excitement and a desire to learn and learn quickly. I want someone who has a love for technology and is not afraid to try something new. Those things are like amazingly hard to find sometimes, you know. The market right now is extremely hot for technologists. And so one of the things here is like, are you interested in trying? Are you going to put the effort in to try to do something that could potentially impact millions and millions of consumers? Technical skills are important, but technology changes so fast. So I wouldn't say there's any particular technology that you need to go and study up on. I think find the area that you're interested in, you know, take those courses and learn that so you have that technical talent. But really, we're also looking for somebody that we want to work with, a good teammate, like a good collaborator, someone who's dependable, someone who will get things done. And that's really what's important to me on my team. We're collaborators, we work together, we're problem solvers. The technical skills, while they do matter, it's not the number one thing. You can have the smartest person in the room, but if that person can't work with others, it's useless. We can't get anything done. So, you know, don't always think like, oh, I need to have, you know, I need to know Java, I need to know Node, I need to know all these cloud technologies. That's not always true. Can you learn those cloud technologies if you're asked? Can you learn that new language if you're asked? You know, if you have a problem and you're having trouble with something, are you comfortable asking for help? Those are the skills that I'm looking for. That's what I want for a good team member. That's who I want to work with. That's who I want to jump into the trenches with.
I would say all the above that Remy just said, and I would only add that for me, it's from a technical perspective, we always tend to focus on technology, but to your point, you know, my team, I have pieces of my team that are leaned in with business stakeholders and building those requirements and hearing what their problems are that need to be solved. And really those soft skills, you know, to your point, is what, you know, we really are lacking. Sometimes we have too much of the highly technical talent, and we don't have enough of those soft skills, those folks that can lean in and collaborate very easily, that can listen to what the problems are, interpret that, and bring it back to the technology team. So from my perspective, my team is the engagement team. You know, we're engaging with the business stakeholders. We're meeting with those leaders and saying, okay, what in technologies do you need to enable business to really drive those efficiencies of operations? And so having someone that can partner very closely with the business, that can understand the needs of the business, that can, you know, map out a plan for how we can tackle that and implement technology and really take it back to those, you know, hardcore technical teams. You know, we're lacking those folks as well. Also, program management, someone that's able to lead an initiative, you know, and really put together the vision, the goals and objectives of that initiative, to lay out a resource plan and to lay out who the key stakeholders are, to be able to set up cadences to, you know, get those groups together so that they can solve those tough problems. You know, all of those soft skills are really needed. And so, you know, definitely, you know, to Rema's point, do not, you know, think that the only thing that's required is technical. We are also, more importantly, looking for those soft skills as well. That can sometimes be ultimately the game changer.
Love it. And we do have a few more questions that I want to make sure we take. But before we do, I do think it's a great moment. There is a slide we have to share that outlines some of the key positions that NBC Universal is hiring for right now. And you can see here, definitely, maybe ladies, if you want to give any color to these, I think you can see just sort of like what Doreen was saying. Yeah, there's software engineering jobs. There's also a project manager job here. Or business analysts. So there are QR codes here. Whoops, I pressed a bad button. But there's QR codes here in case you want to look or you're interested. And many, many more jobs available on Fairygodboss and on the NBCU career site as well. Great. So we've had a couple questions come up about LinkedIn. Since LinkedIn is basically our, you know, our personal brand, our public face to the world, especially when we're job seeking. Someone asked, what advice would either of you give in terms of creating our brand on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, that's a really great question. So I think first and foremost, I think the headshot is extremely important. One thing that we did at Fandango Tech Women Group, we actually hosted a headshot session for our female technologists to kind of come in and take a headshot to improve their LinkedIn profiles. That is one of the first things people see when they are looking up talent. And so that headshot is really important. So you want to make sure you're putting your best face forward, if you will. So take the time and really take that headshot and refresh it. That's something you want to refresh maybe every 2 to 3 years. If you can do it every year, that's even better. So make sure you have a professional, looking photo. Another thing you do is take advantage of that headline. If you're looking for a particular opportunity or you have a particular skill set that makes you unique, use that headline space and amplify that. And put that there. And that's also one of the things that are quickly seen in the search box. So you want to do that. Another thing that you can take advantage of is the banner in your LinkedIn profile. So the banner space is cool because people can just use that for art and they can just use standard colors. But if there's some sort of imagery that emphasizes the type of work that you do, use that space. So again, if a recruiter lands on that profile, they're seeing your headshot, they're seeing your headline, they're seeing that banner image, and they're getting that first feeling of who is this person that I'm about to read about? People are on these profiles for seconds, right? And so that everything above the fold, something that I've also learned from just building applications for consumers, what you see above the fold, so that's above the line where those are important. That's where you're selling yourself. So the bio space is but maybe the last thing that is important. So make sure that it's up to date. So you want to refresh that, and maybe your first few sentences is, this is what I do, and then your next sentence should be about what goal did you just recently achieve? What's the big light about your career? You want to put in the bio, and then everything else I think is just it's just your standard. This is what I'm doing. But I think those areas in LinkedIn are really, really important. And also, another thing the last thing I'd say is it's really important is to post and like posts, be active on the platform. Post about, I mentioned, bragging about yourself, post about your accomplishments. If your company has posted something in the press about some feature or some system or some tool, and you worked on that, maybe repost that article and say, oh, I'm so happy to work on this. My team and I, we got together, we did this. Let people know what you're doing. And that's a great way to kind of say, hey, this is my brag. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been working on. So try to see if you can post something like once every couple of months. And that's super important. I think that'll help kind of build your brand so people can see who you are and what accomplishments and what value you bring.
Great. And Doreen, for you, what are some strategies people can use to network or have icebreakers on LinkedIn? So now they've got this fabulous profile. How can they connect with people
on LinkedIn? So one of the things that I do and I've done for a handful of years now is I tend to go to conferences. Like I said, I like engaging with people. I like meeting new people. And so I'll go to different forums, different conferences, and I make sure to introduce myself and exchange business cards or just exchange, information of my LinkedIn profile. And then I reach out and follow up with those folks on LinkedIn to build that network. I also sometimes with people that I have built a relationship with on LinkedIn, They'll connect the dots like, oh, Doreen, you know what? You work at NBC Universal. Hey, I have three, people that I've known for umpteen years that work there. Let me make the connection. And they'll put an email together and literally connect me, with those people that they think that I have something in common with. So, don't sleep on your LinkedIn network. Definitely look to, reach out to folks. So if you're going after an opportunity at NBC Universal and you see, the name of the opportunity might align, to a certain title that someone has, definitely craft a nice little email and say, yeah, I'm really interested in working here. Here are some things that I think that I can contribute and to add. And, I would like to make a connection just to kind of learn a little bit more about the company. And so that has also worked for me in the past as well. Then there's times that people ignore you, don't let that, catch you off guard. People are busy. Some people don't often check their LinkedIn profiles and their emails. There's so many different avenues, but I would say just, continue to reach out, continue to fill the waters and figure out, the different folks that are willing to give you time and willing to, have conversations with you. But I also, again, if you're interested in NBC Universal, we have, different events that we host that you can lean into to build that network even before you work for the company. So that's something I took advantage of before I actually came to NBC Universal myself.
We are running low on time, so I'm going to ask you each one last question just to close, which in a nutshell, why do you love working at NBC Universal? Doreen, I'll go to you first.
So I mentioned I left a 21-year career, and I think, for me, it was the brand. I actually, used my LinkedIn network, used my network, had tons of conversations with folks before I made the decision to leave. And one of the things that really sold me wasn't just the technology, the ability to transform and to be innovative. We're doing tons of huge, lifts and shifts from a technology perspective internally, but it really also was the diversity and inclusion programs at NBC Universal. I'm truly inspired, with where they're going and what they're doing today across our diversity and inclusion programs. The forums that we have available as employees and leaders within this corporation are phenomenal. And I actually had several meetings with folks that actually walked me through the diversity and inclusion programs before I even joined NBC Universal. So I think, again, just the fact that, like Rema mentioned, it's so vast, there's so many opportunities within NBCU. So today, I'm focused on mostly the internal piece, the operational piece. Tomorrow, I could definitely, navigate my career and, really, be in front of a platform that really helps externally. And then we also have the reach of our parent company, Comcast, which is a whole different conversation, right? So it is really vast of opportunities. There's so much growth there. And I'm definitely here for the long term and looking to grow my career, across NBC Universal. So I'm excited, and I would encourage anyone to look into a career here very seriously.
Love it. Rema.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's very rare in technology is to be in a role for longer than 2 to 4 years, really. And
like crazy unusual. Yes.
It's crazy unusual. And to be at a company for 15 years, hopefully that statement alone speaks volumes about how amazing this company is. I'm here because I get to work on things that are in people's living rooms, in people's hands, millions of people across the country. Where else, there's very few companies that you could work at where you can say that, my mom, my aunt, my family, my friends are all using the things that I build day in and day out, which is amazing.
I think everyone used it Sunday night. Well, the NBCU.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to be having an event, just in a few weeks to kind of talk about the Superwoman behind the Super Bowl, putting that together. What does it take to actually run the technology behind that? Like, where else do you get to do that at a company like NBC Universal? Every 2 years, I've had a new opportunity, new exposure. And then one day, if I decide, hey, this isn't the right thing, chances are I can find another opportunity in another division, another group, and start again. This company has really poured into me so many skills, opportunities. I work with amazing people. I have opportunities to meet people like Doreen just recently and hear about her amazing career. I'm surrounded by great technologists, great people that I would want to work with for years and years to come, and I don't get stale. I always am finding new challenges. I'm learning every day. Someone asked, how do you stay learning? I mean, learning doesn't end. I've been learning since day one. I'm still learning. I'm still studying. I'm still taking courses. I still want to stay on top of things, even as a vice president. The fact that I have an important leadership role in this company is amazing. So, I mean, I can just go on and on about, and gush about this company, which is like weird, how many people get to talk that fondly about the companies that they work for, but it's real. I love my team. I love the ideals that this company stands for, its commitment to diversity and inclusion, its a commitment to increase the number of female technologists, partnerships with companies like Fairygodboss. It's amazing. It's amazing. So if you're looking for an opportunity, please take a look at NBC Universal. There's, NBC Universal has so many brands in its portfolio, so many different things, everything here under the sun. So if you're interested in just taking a look, definitely take a look at those jobs, and come work with us. Come work with me. Come work with Doreen.
Yes.
We'd love that.
Ladies, I can't thank you enough for spending time with us and our audience today. Lots and lots of very compelling reasons that I think many of us would be interested in applying for a job at NBCU, and there are many jobs available. So please check out Fairygodboss, check out NBCU careers, and thank you for spending time with us today. Bye, everyone.
Bye.